Okay, there you go. So we will now proceed with the session 4 of our basic computer networking and pop quiz. For 5 seconds, what is the IP address of your facebook.com? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, basically, we don't care what the IP address is of your facebook.com, even if it's one of the web server or the web server that you are trying to connect to. Now, because we really, it's hard for us to remember numbers. Now, most of the time, like for example, if you're on, sometimes your own cell phone number, you forget. So what the Internet Engineering Task Force does is to create a domain name system, which is one way to help people access the web services or the internet services without trying to remember IP addresses, because it's much easier for us to remember names. So how does the domain name system work? So the domain system, it translates your domain names to your IP addresses. A fully qualified domain name or the FQDN format is this: the subdomain dot the domain name dot the top level domain. The DNS first, when trying to find the corresponding IP address of a certain server, when you input www.google.com in your web browser, the DNS first checks the top level domain. Ito yung unang hahanapin ni DNS. It will try to find all the top level domain database. Then pag dahil maraming mga top level domains, like for example .net, .co, what else? .org. So, from all the generic top-level domains, it will try to find .com. Then afterwards, kapag nakita niya yung .com database, hahanapin naman niya yung Google inside the .com servers. So, after it finds the Google.com, it will now try to find all the subdomain of your google.com. The subdomain usually are the services that is available for your for a certain domain. Like for example, this is the web services. Mail.google.com gives you the mail services. Drive.google.com gives you the storage services. So those are that is the reason you have a subdomain on your domain name. Now, one way to check the translation, the IP address translation of a certain domain name is through the use of NSLOOKUP. So it is a Windows command prompt network tool. So let us open a command prompt tool and type NSLOOKUP, which is short for name server lookup. So it will try to find, or it will look up the IP address of a certain domain name. Now let's try www.google.com. So there you go. So you have two IP addresses translated for www.google.com. So one is the IPv6 and the other one is the IPv4. Now there are some servers that has two or more IP address. Like for example, Bing.com. So as you can see, there are 3 IP addresses, and this is one way to make your website or web server highly available in case na yung isa ay nag-down or nag-overload. DNS will locate you to another server which is working. So that is the reason why a domain name can have 3 or 2 or more IP address to make it highly available in the internet. Now, there are times na if you type a certain web URL in your browser and it keeps going and going, there must be a problem in your DNS. One of the problem, if your browser is not connecting to a certain website, is that your DNS may not be working. So for example, I'll just assign a non-existent DNS. Oh, sorry, that is an existent DNS. Okay, so suppose I'll try to find bing.com and so DNS request timed out. So there are times that a DNS server chokes out. Now, kasi imagine if you are many people or a million people is trying to find the translation of a certain website. So it chokes out. Even computers chokes out as well. So what happens is uh, your connection to that web server is not completed. Kaya sometimes if you type in a certain URL in your web browser, it keeps on going and going. All you have to do is to press F5 or refresh. So the DNS restarts again, and this time it connects. So there are times that you choke out siya, then all you have to do is to press F5. But if it continues to, if there is no connection, then you have to troubleshoot the other problems aside from DNS. So let us continue. So since DNS is a very important part of your internet protocol, what Google did is to provide a public DNS since it provided a highly available, fault-tolerant, highly stable DNS so that everyone can use this and they won't be having any more problems with their DNS. Okay, if you can use this actually and check if your performance in surfing the web becomes better or improves. So you can use the Google public DNS, which is easy to remember, by the way. There are two, the primary and the secondary. The reason for that is when your primary DNS is overloaded, your DNS switches to your secondary. So again, the word high availability. That is always the term in networking. You have to make your services highly available. Also, one of this is a domain name service company. DNS company. It provides its own public DNS and it's easy to remember as well. So how do you use this public DNS in your computer? If you're using Windows, you can type network connections on your Windows search tool near to the Windows logo. So network connections, it will pop up. This window, choose the connections you are using right now. Click properties, go to the Internet Protocol version 4 or the IPv4. Double click that and you can now use the DNS server. So you can use the one offered by Google or the one offered by Cloudflare. Or you can actually use one of the two. So you can use the primary of Cloudflare and the primary of Google. So it's really, you can do that. Now, moving on, let us proceed to this one, the Uniform Resource Locator. So uh, when we break down a certain Uniform Resource Locator, so what are those components? One is the communication protocol. This is HTTP, basically the protocol for web browsing or serving the World Wide Web. Now, the next, this is HTTP://. So there are other communication protocols in the next slide that we will become familiar with. This is your fully qualified domain name of the web server. You have the folders. Now, the same, the web server has the same concept as that of your file explorer in your own computer. So, pag nakakakita kayo ng slash, in this case, it's slash, but in the file explorer, it's backslash because it is leaning to the left. It means you are traversing folders. The file is inside the server. So let us look at one example of your File Explorer or Windows Explorer. So as you can see, okay, so this file is inside the folder Apps and Blackmagic. So as you can see, File Explorer naman on the other hand uses a backslash symbol. So if it's local, tawag dito, this is, you use the backslash for local shares, like for example, network file shares, and you use the slash for the internet or basically your web browser. So in this case, this index.html file is located inside the folder pubweb slash tilde latimer. So this is under these two folders. And lastly, your hashtag events is basically an anchor or a section of your index. So you can have many sections such as about us, the company, our company, contact address, okay, or contact us. So you can use, this is the anchor or the section of your web page. Now, these are the common communication protocols used in your URL. The HTTP, which is the acronym of Hypertext Transfer Protocol, HTTPS, or the secure HTTP. This is the one that you should check when authenticating through websites. When we say authenticating, you are entering your username and password. So looking at a certain website, let us open google.com. Now, as you can see, there is a lock symbol which tells you that you are secured, your connection is secured. Or simply, if you double click this, it is using the secure HTTP protocol. So what does it do? The secure HTTP protocol encrypts the data that you input in this website. So if a hacker is using a tool called the packet sniffer, so what the packet sniffer does, it will check connections or packets coming in and out of your computer. So one of them may be your username and password. However, if it's in the secure HTTP protocol, if your password looks like this, for example, now what the hacker will see are jumbled letters or basically letters that are uh, encrypted. So these are jumbled letters or characters which is now unusable by the hacker. So it's basically, it's a useless information. So that's how HTTPS protects our connection. It encrypts your connection. So moving forward, so FTP is an old protocol since one of the use of a network is to share or upload files. So before the Google Drive or the OneDrive or any storage cloud devices, cloud storage devices, meron ng FTP. So FTP is in a network is where you upload or uh, download important files in your network. So I have one here in MCA, and I use this one for to connect to my to store my disk images for my computer. So let me connect to my FTP server. So I have to write down FTP colon slash slash and the server name. I have to authenticate. There you go. So I have, these are the disk images that I will be using in case a certain computer goes down. I have to get another computer and apply the disk image para in around 30 minutes, the user can go back to his or her work. So that's how you use your FTP server in your network. So let us again review the reserved IP addresses. So one of them is the private IP network addresses used in institutions. Okay, again, so uh, 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 this is not constant. Okay, so nung ginawa ito, these are the allocated subnet mask, but you really doesn't you don't really need uh, to follow them. Because when the CIDR was introduced, your network now becomes classless. Ibig sabihin, you can now use any subnet mask for your private IP network addresses. But this was the original subnet mask that is allocated for these network numbers. But you don't have to do that anymore. So that is the best practice now. Now, it is used in conjunction with your network address translation or the NAT. So again, the NAT extends your IPv4 address because remember, IPv4 address are uh, limited in the sense that 4.3 billion IPv4 address are only available. And we have 7.4 billion people. So one way to extend your IPv4 address is to use the private IP network address in conjunction with your NAT. So what the NAT does is so this is how it works. So you have a client with this source IP address requesting for connection to YouTube server. I don't know if what server is this. Let me let me just say that it's a YouTube server. So it's connecting. It will send out a requesting packet going to that server with the source IP address, which is the private IP network address. But when it comes to the network router or the main router with the NAT installed or the NAT enabled will change the source IP address to its one IP address or the external IP address in which the data packet will proceed to the internet using that source IP address. When the YouTube servers receive that request packet, so it will now acknowledge. So request acknowledge packet, so it will go back to your client. But this time, as it goes to your router, the router will change again the destination from its one external IP address to its internal IP address or basically the client requesting for the connection. So the result is, in case na 10,000 devices ang meron dito, you have saved 10,000 public IP addresses because of the NAT. So what is automatic private IP addressing or the APIPA? So remember the diagram one, you have no DHCP server or router in your network. What the laptop does is to assign itself an IP address, which is in the range of your APIPA or the automatic private IP addressing. Now, it will first use the broadcast address. So in this case, the broadcast address is what? What is the broadcast address of the APIPA? Can anyone tell me? Just unmute your mic if you have an answer. Okay, Nan. Broadcast address again is .255. Palitan nyo lang yung dulo, then it becomes your broadcast address. So what the computer does is to send a message to the broadcast address telling everyone, meron na po bang gumagamit ng 169.254.0.1? So kapag meron na, for example, laptop 2 ay using that IP address already. So it will now move to 169.254.0.2. So again, it will broadcast to the network. Is someone using that IP address already? Kapag wala na nag-reply, it will use that IP address. So that is how broadcast address and APIPA works. The loopback address is not used by anyone, or it could not be assigned to any device. This cannot be assigned to any network, as well as this one, 127.0.0.1, because it is called the loopback address, used to check if your TCP IP settings is working on your computer. So how do we do that? So you just use the loopback, ping loopback, or sorry, the IP address is 127.0.0.1. Okay? But you can use this one, ping loopback. However, it will give out your, this is the IPv6 loopback address. The IPv6 loopback address. Or you can use localhost, ping localhost. So that is the diagnostic network IP address to check if your TCP IP settings are working perfectly. So the ICANN is institution to responsible for IP address allocation, as well as the domain DNS and the management of root server system. Now, there are regional registries for IP address assignments. Like in North America, the ARIN is the one responsible. In Europe, is the RIPE NCC. In Asia Pacific, where we are located, it's APNIC. And in South America is the LACNIC, one responsible for the IP address registries. IANA is also the one assigned to responsible for maintaining the generic top level domain. So they are the one who are controlling or creating the top level domains. Like the generic top level domains are .com, .org, .net, etc. The country code TLD, top level domain database, like for example .ph, .us. So they are the one also responsible for that, as well as the IP address services. So these are the top level domain names that are recently created by IANA. App for applications. So if you are developing an app, if you have a working application, you can use a domain .app. .info for websites that it contains that are information related. .biz for business, dev for development, and live for live stream. But there are many other top level domains that you can use depending upon your purpose. So some companies like Facebook, binili nila yung .me na domain, or bumili sila ng domain from Montenegro, which is ME. Their top level domain is ME. You can do that. As well as YouTube, bumili sila ng domain from Belgium, which is .be, the CCTLD of Belgium. So, the reason for this is mas madaling matandaan yung pangalan nila, mas mabilis ma-type, mas maikli, lalo na if you're thinking about Twitter, di ba? There are limited characters there. So, one way to do that is uh, to decrease the letter of the URL. So they did that using the top level domain of CC top level domain of other countries. Now, fun fact, so what does the top level domain .tv stand for? So nakita niyo na yan kanina, it's not television. It's actually the country code TLD of Tuvalu. Tuvalu is a country near Hawaii. So Tuvalu is a small country, and it earns one of its major earnings is one of the valuable resource is their domain, which is .tv. And since .tv sounds like television, so most television networks, they bought from a domain from Tuvalu, and also Amazon. So nag-license din si Amazon for its live streaming platform Twitch. So going to your performance task, so I've already posted your groupings in the Zoom channel, and also the performance task is also posted in your Google Classroom. Pakibasa na lang itong performance task sheet doon. But the gist is you are a team of network engineers hired by MCA to design their computer network. So these are the requirements. So you have to connect all these offices, department, or rooms containing all these devices. Then your output should be a PowerPoint. So basically, easy lang. PowerPoint, because all you have to do is to make a proposal. Your proposal should contain a network diagram containing the IP address assignments in CIDR notation. So basically what the scaffolding to, it's just scaffolding to there. Then if there are additional router server settings and network cabling plan. So we will discuss this next week. So we won't be having any meeting tomorrow. So you should meet with your group. However, every week, by next week, dapat may pakita na kayo sa akin kahit na draft or halfway finished na diagram for your computer network. Para kasi we only have 2 more weeks na lang left. So by next week, I'll be checking one by one your draft of the network diagram before I proceed with the router server settings and the cabling plan. Also, these are the rubrics. So just check the rubrics na lang on the performance task sheet. So all the details are included here. The deadline of submission is March 8, Monday, 2 weeks from, is it 2 weeks? Yeah. So less than 2 weeks na lang. Okay? So you have to manage your time properly. So the individual rubrics are as follows. So last time, 10 points lang ang allotted for your individual performance. This time, 20 na siya. Because one skill that you have to learn in the real world is to work with others, collaboration. So you should have the correct attitude. You should have a good performance. You should have a good quality of work outputs, and of course, you should be reliable. Okay. So this is the one that the leader will accomplish. So using that rubric, he or she will be giving a grade for everyone And all the members will be using the same rubric uh, to grade their leader. The assistant leader will be the one to get the average of all the grades provided by the members, and the whole number, or the rounding off to the whole number, that will be the grade of the leader. So that's it. Any question before we proceed? Before I talk to these people, ano nga
Chair,
ba
may
yung
I ask po?
tao na yun? Bagawisan and uy, nawala. Isa na lang. Si Bagawisan na lang. Okay, so tayo mag-uusap, Mr. Bagawisan. You have any more questions?
Chair, question po.
Wait lang. Let
Saan
me pause the recording.